Hello, it is World Wide Web Wednesday, February 13th, 2019. Steve Sipress here with a tip to help you make more money on the internet. I'm assuming now that everyone, if you're watching this, not only, of course, do you have an excellent product or service, but you also have a website. If it was about 10 years ago, you were hearing all kinds of nonsense from business owners. I was, at least. Oh, I don't need a website and blah, blah, blah. Now it's assumed everyone has a website, of course. But is your website effective at bringing you your ideal customers, patients, clients, members, at least your ideal prospects coming to you? Are they finding you? So now when I mention this, business owners often say, well, of course they find me. They just type in the name of my firm, Huffington Loffington Associates Incorporated, and of course I come right up. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about are strangers finding you. Hopefully, of course, your clients that already do business with you can find you. People that exactly know your name of your company or your personal name can find you. But are prospects finding you when they have a problem that you can solve? Sean is here. Happy Wednesday, Steve. Happy Wednesday to you, too. The fabulous Sean Jones. Now, Sean Jones knows all about this. Her husband, Robert Jones, not only do they together run one of the most successful networking businesses in the entire world. They host over 1,000 events a year. But Robert is also an expert in this stuff that I'm talking about here, keywords and how to get websites to be effective instead of just sitting there and doing nothing or only functioning when people who know you find you. So to do this, these keywords I'm mentioning, what is a keyword? It means that's a word or a phrase that somebody will type in to a search engine when we're looking for a type of service. And the key is to use common sense here, and more importantly, use common terms. You got to put yourself in the place of your prospect, of your customer, your client, your patient, your member, of somebody else. That's, of course, the key to the WOW strategy. The first W in the WOW strategy stands for the who, which is who you want to do business with you, and everything comes down to that. So especially when you're choosing what keywords to put into your online content, your articles, your blog posts, your videos, you put them into the keywords section of all your web pages. And obviously you don't do any of this stuff yourself. You get your web person to do this, but if they don't get the right direction from you, they might make a big mistake that a lot of business owners make, which is using jargon that not only do people don't care about and don't understand, but it's certainly not how they look for you. So you want to pay attention to how your prospects, how your clients, your customers are finding you. If you don't ask them straight out, hey, how'd you find me? Or what'd you look for? You can, of course, go into online forums, groups, all the social media sites have. You can go on there and just see how people talk about their problems. So I'll give you a few examples. One of my favorite examples. By the way, this all comes from a most famous saying I know on the topic is Albert Einstein, one of the biggest geniuses, sharpest minds of all time on earth, who said, genius, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like, genius is taking the complex and making it simple. And yet if you talk to business owners or just about anybody else, they think it's the opposite. They think that they show you what a genius they are by speaking in such highfalutin, complex, crazy, technical language that therefore you just think how smart they are. Number one, we don't. Okay, so here's a big hint, or I'll just say it straight out, those of you that are doing that. Number one, we don't think you're a genius for doing that. And number two, we're not finding you from your blog posts, your videos, your articles, your keywords, if those are the keywords you're using. Hey, thanks for all the likes. Carlos is here. Great seeing you. So as an example, one of my favorite examples comes from the old Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner cartoon strips. Do you ever look at these as a kid? They're probably all over YouTube, or maybe they're still on TV today. But one of my favorite parts, when I was a little kid, I just watched it and I just thought it was fun that the Roadrunner was always making fun of the coyote and slipping away at the last section and saying beep, beep, and running away, and Coyote with his ridiculous Acme everything. But as I grew a little older, I started to notice that in every episode, they seem to have a different technical Latin name for each of the two title characters, the Coyote and the Roadrunner. I thought since it came across the screen, came on and off so quickly when I was young, I couldn't read it that fast. I just thought, gee, that's the technical Latin name. But as I get older, I noticed how funny it was, these names they were using in every different cartoon strip. I want you to think of that. Go look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about, you haven't seen it, look up the Roadrunner cartoon and see in the video, in the cartoon, where they name, usually at the beginning, they introduce the characters by saying, this is Roadrunner, and then they put in parentheses, fastest runnerus, as if they're using some Latin technical name for the phylum and the species and all that kind of stuff, bringing back memories from science class like 50 years ago. And then a coyote would always be something about, how he was eating. It would be like, Hungarus Ferbertius. And when I was a kid, that just all went by me, and I thought, oh, there's the technical whatever. I don't know anything about that. When I got older, I was like, that's funny. Well, it's funny, but it's not effective. Okay, that doesn't make you seem smart. It makes you seem comical, just like it is when we see that in a Roadrunner and Coyote cartoon. So I want you to think of that. Go to your website, go to your blog posts, go to your articles, your videos, and see what words you're using to describe your product or service, and see if you're being comical by using these overly technical names that anyone who's not an expert in your industry, which is basically your prospects, don't understand. They don't talk that way. I use an example like in the insurance industry. Insurance people that are in the industry love to talk about the lines of insurance. I got home and life, auto and home, auto and life and that, and whatever. People don't talk that way. People do not type into a search engine, when I buy a car and I need to get insurance, I don't type in auto insurance. I type in car insurance. See, it can be something as simple as that. Saying auto insurance is industry jargon. Now, if you're an insurance agent, you don't even realize that, because everyone you hang out with in the insurance industry all talks like that, and you might even see some of your competitors making this ridiculous mistake. But if you pay attention to ones that know what they're doing, or you pay attention to me in my videos or anything else that I'll teach, you keep it simple. So you show that genius and you say, how can I say auto in a much simpler, more common sense way? I know, I'll just say car. Okay, so especially if you are an attorney, a doctor, an accountant, a dentist, anything where you're using technical terminology, I could do that just in the marketing world. I'm a marketing expert. I help people to make ridiculous amounts of money as long as they have an excellent product or service and they're in a growth mode, not an emergency, oh, I need help, Steve, my business is dying mode. If they're in a growth mode, I help them double, triple, 5 times, 10, 20, 30, 50 times, not only their income, but their equity, the value of their company. But do I talk in terms of like right here? I'm explaining what a keyword is. I just didn't throw it out there and say, watch your keyword density. And I don't throw away terms like that. Instead of saying keyword density, I'll just say watch how often you use a certain keyword and repeat it over and over on your website, because Google and the other search engines don't like what they call keyword stuffing. See, I didn't just throw that term out there and say, watch your keyword density so you're not guilty of keyword stuffing. Like, what? Nobody talks like that. Watch how many times, be careful how many times you repeat the same words or phrases on your website, because overdoing it will make the search engines and their algorithms and their robots and their automatic, figuring of these things, they'll just figure that you are trying to game the system by using these keywords way too often in unnatural ways, and therefore not only will they not rank your website up in the listings higher so people find it on the top page when they're searching for stuff, because that's all people click on, right? When's the last time you went to page 2 or 3 or 4 when you got results from a search on a search engine, right? So you want to rank up there at the top, and having keywords that people look for in your content, on your website, in the descriptions of your pages is important, but you can't overdo it. Simple as that. Don't overdo it. Make it natural and have it in natural sentences. I see people doing all kinds of ridiculous things like repeating it because this worked 15 years ago. You could repeat the keywords 15, 20 times in a paragraph, and therefore you fooled Google.com into ranking you up higher. Well, guess what? Google.com is not that stupid. In fact, they're pretty smart at this stuff, and they're on to the game. And now they do what's called a Google slap, and they smack your website so it doesn't even show up, not at the top of page 1, doesn't show up on page 2, 3, or 4. They just smack it. Doesn't show up anywhere. So don't do that. So see, I'm not going to use some kind of jargon from my industry, and you should do the same. Keep things simple. Auto repair. I don't know anything about my car, my auto repair. You know, when I talk to a guy that doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't know anything about sales or marketing, but he really knows how to fix cars, he'll start talking about, oh, well, you see the torque and the differential and the timing and the what? All I know is it's going ka-thunka-thunka. And I want to bring it in, drop off the keys. I want you to call me tomorrow and say it's all fixed. Come in and give me a credit card and drive home. That's all I want to know. Don't start pointing out to me that, you see, we used a 42.3 spectrumograph and we did this and we timed it out to the way. I don't care. So don't think people care, and especially don't think people are finding you by putting some complex, highfalutin, wily coyote, roadrunnerous, eaterous type of Latin gobbledygook nonsense. Okay, this is an important tip for making money on the internet, and that's why it's the tip of the day here on World Wide Web Wednesday. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, issues, disagreement, agreement, anything at all, put it in the comment below wherever you're seeing this video, or tweet me at Steve Sipress, or send me a message at Steve's Facebook, Steve Sipress, or LinkedIn, or go to helpfromsteve.com, and I'll discuss it with you and offer you some help specifically in your business so you can have more fun and make more money. Isn't that what it's all about? That'll do it for World Wide Web Wednesday. Thanks to everyone being here live. Watching on the replay, I will be reaching into the vault tomorrow on Throwback Thursday and pulling something out. We'll have some fun, and I'll likely teach a business lesson from it as well. Hope you'll be with me then. That's enough for today. Adios.